I was one of those people that thought that food and lifestyle and basically all these natural holistic things were the cure to my autoimmunity. And sure, they helped, but they weren't the cure. And maybe it was like a 3% factor of helping me get to a place where I can at least go to work every day. But I still felt the pain. I still felt the symptoms. I was still living with the MCAS symptoms, the histamine intolerance, the rashes, the congestion, the nasal drip, all of that on a daily basis, the gut issues, and it was just piling up one by one. And I remember I was speaking to a scientist at Bio, and he was telling me about autoimmune conditions and just helping me understand my body. And then I remember I traveled to 40 different countries to be able to understand different health modalities and how I can apply them to my body to be able to recover and cure these conditions. Because I noticed that it wasn't just the food and the lifestyle. It was my mindset. It was my emotions. It was potent therapies that actually reduced oxidative stress and free radical damage in the body, which is not talked about today, because that's actually what causes all of these conditions to develop and keep coming up. And then it turns into something like cancer, and then you have a really acute situation where you can do something very little about it. And mainstream medical industry talks a lot about flare-ups. They talk a lot about the pain. They talk a lot about these short-term instances, and they tell you that you have to live with this forever. And through my 30 years of traveling the world, overcoming these conditions, and being able to share my experiences with you, I'm letting you know that it's so much more than that. It's about the oxidative stress in the body that is caused through most of these genetics. And when I looked into my genetics, I saw I was prone to free radical damage, I was prone to inflammation, and I was actually allergic to most prescription drugs. And something else I noticed was that the doctors still prescribed me drugs. They didn't look at my genetics. They didn't see that when I take drugs, my liver just was holding on to them, and I would feel the side effects 10 times more than the average person. And none of this was taken into account when I would visit the doctor. So then I took my health in my own hands. I traveled to 40 different countries. I realized that the only way I can overcome these conditions was by becoming the hero of my health and understanding how oxidative stress was triggered through environmental toxins, through even just an everyday lifestyle, through a lot of things that are completely out of our control. So one of the things I realized is, since my environment is out of my control, what can I control? I can control what I put in my body. I can control detoxing my body and keeping it clean, making sure my immune system isn't overloaded so it can go after toxins and go after these pathogens and get rid of them and have the strength to be able to overcome them. And I realized that a lot of these therapies helped with that. It helped reduce that oxidative stress, which also reduced the other conditions greatly. And I realized that my ANA became negative. A lot of these autoimmune conditions were gone. I was living a free life. I was not on prescription drugs. I was living a life of just being able to think clearly, being able to live without chronic fatigue, not gaining weight after eating a carrot, and a lot of these conditions that caused most of this inflammation was completely out of the picture. And that's what I'm doing with Healveda.Health, is bringing you these potent therapies that allow you to reduce that oxidative stress load in the body and be able to understand your body so you never have to be at the mercy of anyone else, and you can live a free life, you can take your power back, and you can pursue your dreams and live in bliss.